Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making this Ho 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 Christmas card using the Perfectly Plaid photopolymer stamp set and its coordinating punch. If you buy them together you can get 10% off. And this card is a little bit different in that it is actually like a pop-up card. So if you see that it's kind of standing up here and then when you open it up it has a lot of folds and a lot of dimension. So it's a really nice card. It stands up really nicely. And so let's get started. Start off with the dimensions. You're going to need a piece of Night of Navy cut at 11 by 4 1/4. Piece of white cardstock for the inside of the card, cut at 4 by 4. 2 pieces of the wrapped in Plaid DSP, cut at 4 1/4 by 3/4. Going to need a cardstock of shaded spruce, cut at 4 1/4 by 2. Another piece of white cardstock, cut at 4 by 1 3/4. And another piece of white cardstock, cut at 4 6/8. And you're going to need a scrap of your Glimmer gold for your tree, and then scraps of your wrapped in Plaid DSP for the trees as well. Okay, so let's get started with the scoring and the cutting of this card here. I went ahead and pre-did it just to save some time, but it's kind of complicated, so I want to explain it, and I'm going to get out my trimmer because you will need to be able to use this. Okay, so on the long side of it, you're going to make 2 cuts into the cardstock on each side. So it's 1 inch on each side in that you're going to make the cuts. Okay, and how you're going to do that is that you're going to line it up on the 1 inch on the length side here, and then you're going to go from the 1 inch down from the top, and you're going to cut all the way to 6 1/2. And then what you want to do is you want to flip it over and do the same on the other side. Line it up at the 1 inch, start cutting from 1 inch down all the way down to 6 1/2. Okay, once you have those cuts already made, scoring becomes a lot easier. So you're going to score 1 inch and 1 inch on each side of the cut. So with the cut already made, you can make that scoring line just a little bit easier just by lining it up to the 1 inch, coming down and scoring to the 1 inch, and then coming on the bottom here and then scoring 1 inch up. Then you're going to take it to the 2 inches and you're going to score again to the 1 inch on the top, and then again 1 inch into the top. So stopping right where you've already made that cut. Then you're going to take it, and this is where we need to fold it out here a little bit, to the 5 1/2 mark here, and you're going to just score the middle. So not on the outside where you cut. So where you cut that little flap, you just want to score that middle piece. So it's about 1 inch to about 3 1/4 is the score line in that middle piece right there. And then you're going to take it down to about 6 1/2, and you're going to score 1 inch in on the top and 1 inch in on the bottom. Again, stopping where you've cut. So by making the cuts first, it makes the scoring a lot easier because you know where to stop with the scoring. You don't even really need to pay attention to the measurements of where you're scoring, except for at what point in the cardstock do you want to score. And then when you score those, you fold everything down. Use your bone folder to get nice, crisp, straight edges to keep that down. Okay? All right, so now let's go ahead and stamp the card. Again, using this as our template. Really minimal stamping. We're going to stamp the inside of the card, and then we're going to stamp the ho ho ho. So we're using the ho 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 from the Perfectly Plaid. And then in the inside greeting, I chose hoping that your busy year comes together in Christmas cheer. And we're going to stamp that using the shaded spruce. And then our ho ho ho. And you kind of want to get that right in the middle as much as you can. Okay. All right, so now let's put the card together. You could use Snail, but sometimes I really like to use just a plain old glue stick. Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell these, but this is a cheaper alternative. And let me tell you and show you why I like to use glue sticks sometimes, especially for these cards where I like to line things up. The glue stick allows you to move your cardstock after you've placed it. So when you place it down, let's say you're over too much on one side, you can just slide it over very easily. And that glue stick gives you that push of moving this around until it dries. Now the only downfall about using a glue stick like this, Elmer's glue, is that they do get old, and after a while sometimes it doesn't stick, so the paper will fall off. So I like to make sure that I use plenty of it, and then I don't expose the cards to any kind of heat or anything like that to make it weak. I really wish Stampin' Up! Would come up with a glue stick that was a little bit tougher than the school glue, because as we all know, it's a kid's glue for projects and stuff, and so they make it cheap, and it's not exactly the strongest kind of bond. However, when you use the Snail, which is great, it bonds, it stays stuck together, you have to make sure you line it up perfectly. And sometimes that's just kind of hard to do when you've got weird dimensions and whatnot. So you can use either or. I use everything from the Snail to the glue stick to liquid glue. Okay, got all those glued together. Now let's punch out our trees. Using our tree punch. Now the gold tree in the middle, that actually gets glued down. I kind of put it right in the middle up on top. And then I'm going to pop these up on dimensionals. Okay, now we're going to tie some ribbon, and the ribbon I'm using is the striped ribbon that comes in the new holiday catalog, the shaded spruce and gold ribbon. And I cut about 8 inches here to make the bow. Wow, it's a little knot, not really a bow. And then sometimes the ends, when they get frayed, just like to snip off a little bit of that so that it looks a little bit neater. Okay, and so now to finish it off, I'm using the clear faceted gems, and I use this because I thought, you know, these kind of look like snow, maybe glistening snow a little bit, and I thought that would be very cute to take up this space right here. All right, and there you have it. Ho 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 Christmas card using non-traditional colors. All right, well, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Please leave your comments below with any questions and any other kinds of techniques that you might want to see in the future. I will be trying to post content every week on my channel. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.